Hey guys, today we're going to be making a tier list ranking the best intro animations. Now this is the animation list. This is not like the ink brush sequence list. I mean, they're different things, right? The intro animations for the Ultras, obviously when you start the fight with the Ultra character, they have a special intro animation. I might do a separate video going over the ink brush art, you know, sort of like animation things too, but this is not what that is, so just in case you guys were wondering. So we have 13 Ultra characters in the game as of me recording this video here. And if you guys didn't see my Legendary Finish tier list, this is going to be very similar to that. Obviously, we have a lot less characters to go through here, so this shouldn't be as long. It's probably going to be pretty tough to rank these because they're all very simple, right? At least with the Legendary Finish animations, we have like multiple angles. They're like, you know, 20 seconds long. These are like literally 3 to 5 seconds each. So, I mean, it's just going to be very up in the air here, but I guess we'll just go ahead and get started with the first character, which is Ultra Hit. How good is Ultra Hit's intro animation? I think it's actually pretty good, right? I think it achieves what it's meant to achieve, which is to introduce something about the character that people know, which is of course the time skip. He turns the background into like the time skip background. He slowly walks onto the battlefield. It's very similar to the Dragon Ball FighterZ intro for Hit, but I think that's fine because that's very representative of what the character wants to be doing. I don't really think there's anything super flashy about it. It's kind of just it encompasses what Hit is as a character, and I don't really have too many negative things to say about Hit's intro. So I'm going to go ahead and put Hit's intro in great. I don't think there's anything negative to say about it. I guess it could have potentially been a little bit flashier, sure, but I think it's fine the way it is here. All right, so next we have Ultra Super Saiyan Goku. Now, this is the first ever Ultra character that was ever released. He, of course, is a free Ultra character, which I doubt we'll ever get another one of, just because they kind of wanted to ease us into the new era of Ultra characters dominating the game with a free character. I'm a huge fan of this Ultra Goku's animations. I think, obviously, again, this is not a tier list ranking the ink brush animations, but he has one of the best ink brush animations for sure. The intro, I mean, this is one of the most iconic scenes in the history of Dragon Ball, if not the single most iconic scene in Dragon Ball, period. When Goku first turned Super Saiyan on Namek against Frieza. I think they did a good job with it. They didn't make it too long. They you know, this is the first Ultra. Maybe they could have made a few mistakes here and there because they were just testing out to see what people's initial reactions would be to how the intros would play out. But I don't really think they made any errors with this character, and I think he's actually probably just one of the best Ultra animations, period. I'm gonna put him in amazing. Obviously, I am very biased towards Namek Goku, one of my favorite characters in the franchise, period. But I literally like the angles they use for the transformation, the voice lines. You know, when he finishes transforming, he has the iconic pose where he's looking up at the camera with the, you know, the sort of like downward facing shot of him. Everything is pretty good, and I'm actually really surprised that they decided to go with this character as a free Ultra, considering they could have charged us for this one, I think. But yeah, definitely one of the best Ultra animations in the game, if not just one of the best in the game, or just the best in the game. All right, next we have Ultra Omega Shenron. Now, Ultra Omega Shenron's intro animation. By the way, I might have the animations playing on like the side, or, you know, while I'm talking, I might have them displayed on the screen. I haven't decided yet. I think it makes sense to at least show you guys and refresh you guys' memories on how the Ultra animations look. Of course, I've seen all these characters' intro animations a million times, so I know exactly what they look like. Ultra Omega Shenron. So, I mean, it's just him eating the Dragon Balls and then powering up and like getting the Dragon Balls displayed on his chest, right? I think it's good. Again, I don't really think it's kind of similar to Hits, but I think they maybe could have finished with something else, right? All he does is he powers up with the Dragon Balls on his chest, and he doesn't really do anything or follow up with anything. And yes, I understand that is what happens in the series. He doesn't really follow that up with anything when that happens, but for an Ultra character and Ultra animation, I think they could have potentially added something else to the animation at the end. He is another free-to-play Ultra. He was the final free-to-play Ultra of the 3 ones that we got at the beginning of the rarity being introduced into the game. But overall, I don't think it's really that bad, but I don't really think it's anything too crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in decent. I think this is definitely a decent animation. It's not bad. It's not crazy. It's simply just decent. Okay, so next we have Ultra Super Vegito. Now, this one is obviously one that they tried to make very, very faithful to the source material. Vegito powers up. He does the same exact pose he does when he powers up in the original series. He does the pose, not the Yosha pose. Like, he powers up into Super Saiyan and then he does the smirk towards the camera the same exact one he does in the series. And I think it works well for the character. I mean, Ultra Super Vegito is a very cocky character, obviously. He makes a lot of, remarks about Buhan and stuff. And I think it works well for the character. I think this is probably similar situation to Ultra Hit, where they did a good job of encapsulating the essence of the character with Vegito. It might not look nearly as good as Hit, just because there's not really much they could do with the scene that they decided to go with for Vegito, right? Hit at least has the background, the time skip background. I think I probably would put Vegito right below Hit. I think they're similar. I don't really think there's much of a discrepancy between them. All right, so next we have Ultra Gogeta Blue. So Ultra Gogeta Blue starts as a Super Saiyan, and he immediately goes into Blue. And, sort of like in the Broly dimension is that scene that they're referencing when he's fighting against Broly, and then Broly transforms into full power Super Saiyan. And then obviously Gogeta would then need to respond by going blue because he can't keep up with the full. Well, I mean, we don't know that for sure, but his punch had no effect on full power Super Saiyan Broly, so then he has to go blue. I think the coolest thing to me about this Gogeta transformation, the intro for him, is like all the different auras and effects around him. Like there's lightning around him. Like it looks really good. And I think as well, something that they did capture pretty well with this intro animation is when he turns Super Saiyan Blue, they actually do capture some of the like 3D-ish part of the Broly movie. Because when Gogeta goes blue in the Broly movie, it technically is like 3D animated. That's the portion of the movie that kind of uses the CG animation to show the other dimension that they're in. And I think they actually did do a good job of portraying that in the game. But on the other hand, it's a very, very simple animation. I think they probably anticipated that a lot of people were going to be leading off with this character, and so they didn't want to make it super, super long or in-depth or anything like that. So I think this is a very good candidate just for good, right? When you think about this Ultra Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, he has a lot of crazy good aesthetics going for him, and I think the art, the animations that are not the intro animation, like his blue card animation, his ultimate animation, his counter animations, like you don't really think too much about his ultra intro animation when you're thinking about the aesthetics of this character. Although again, I wouldn't really say that his animation is bad at all. I think it's just, that's what happened in the movie. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in good. I think that's a fair spot for him. Next, we have Namek Vegeta. So this is kind of like, so this was the second free Ultra character that we got ever. We got Namek Goku first. Like most iconic scene in Dragon Ball. I think it's pretty clear that that's the most iconic scene in Dragon Ball. When Goku first goes Super Saiyan, I mean, if there's a moment that is worthy of getting an Ultra character, that's it. The next Ultra we get, the very next character, is Dirty Fireworks Vegeta from his fight against Kui, also from the Namek Saga. I just don't. Even how many years later is this? 3 years later, or whatever it is, 3, 2, 2.5, whatever. However many years later it is since this was released. I still don't understand the decision behind releasing this character. His intro animation is him just like powering up. You guys know what his intro animation is? It is literally you charging. If you hold your finger down on the screen and charge the character, that is his intro animation. This is a certified diarrhea level animation. 100%. No clue what they were trying to go for with this Vegeta. I don't know if it was supposed to be some kind of inside joke that didn't play out well. I don't really understand the point behind this character's existence. I think his Ultra intro animation looks pretty, I mean, it looks fine, but it's so underwhelming. I don't care about it at all. I would skip this if I could. So I'm just gonna, it's lowest tier, terrible. All right, next we have Ultra Rose. So there are definitely a few things we could say about the Ultra Rose Ultra intro animation. They pretty much just took the LF animation from Purple Rose and just pasted it onto Ultra Rose's intro. I mean, that's definitely not good, but on the other hand, can you really blame them for doing that? That is actually what the character is. Like, this is a character that is holding the scythe during the entire time you're using the character. And so I don't know if I want to blame them too much for using that. But other than that, he doesn't do anything. Like, he takes the scythe out of his hand and then just swipes across the screen, and that's the entire thing. I think they could have done some kind of, like, you know, him flipping the scythe around, or maybe he, you know, like cuts the I don't know, cuts the hole in the rift or the dimension or whatever, and does something different, something to differentiate the Ultra animation for this Rosé from the LF animation of the purple Rosé. I think this was this character obviously released during a period where they were just releasing a lot of Ultras back to back to back, right? We got Ultra Gogeta Blue, then we got Ultra Hit, then we got Rosé, then we got Kid Buu. In the period of 4 months, we got 4 Ultras. And so I think maybe they were kind of pressed for resources when they were designing this character and coming up with his animations and, you know, creating the animations. And I think potentially they were maybe not... they didn't have the I don't want to say not the budget, but they didn't have the resources to allocate towards making this some kind of super fancy animation. I'm actually going to go ahead and put him in bad. I definitely don't think this Rosé deserves to be in, like, awful or diarrhea tier, because it's not a bad looking animation, but it's literally just a copy and paste of the LF intro of the LF animation from Purple Rosé. But again, it doesn't look bad because that's actually what the character, like, that's what the character does, right? That's what he does. So, but like, it is, on the other hand, it is like a no effort intro animation. Like, they did not put much effort into this at all. All right, next we have Ultra Janemba. So what do we want to say about Ultra Janemba? This is definitely one of the more generic intro animations that exist. They show like a shot of his foot, and then they pan up, and then they show him, like, you know, looking over into the camera, and then he does the scream, and that's it. And then it sort of like pans behind him, and then the fight begins. I think if they really wanted to go above and beyond with this character, and I think a lot of people have the same opinion as me because I've seen a lot of people mention this before, they could have had the fat version of Janemba have his transformation into this Janemba, and that could have been his intro. If that was the case, this is like an easy, amazing tier Ultra intro, depending on how it looks. They clearly didn't want to put in the effort to do that, and so they just made Janemba like probably the most generic intro. Like, who has a more generic intro animation than Janemba? Vegeta is the only character on this list, I think, that has a more generic intro animation than this Janemba does. I'm actually gonna go ahead and put him in awful. I don't think this intro animation for Janemba looks good at all. Well, do I want to say that? It looks fine. It does not exceed expectations for what you would expect for the highest rarity in the game. You know, we have intro animations like Ultra Super Saiyan Goku, who's a free character, even like Ultra Super Vegeta, Ultra Hit, like they all capture the essence of the character. Janemba has so many cool and unique mechanics, or not mechanics, but, you know, things that he can do as a character. He can like break himself down into those particles to I guess like move around more freely. He has like the different dimensional abilities. He has the sword. There's the one scene where he takes the sword and fills the entire screen with fire and then looks at the camera. That would have been a perfect intro animation for Janemba. They chose the most generic part of the character where he powers up before he attacks Gogeta. That's all they did. I can't praise this intro animation. It's got to be awful. It's got to be. Okay, and then we sort of have his counterpart here that, of course, released 2 years ago now. We have Ultra Super Gogeta, the first ever summonable Ultra. So for this character, I definitely think they put a bunch of effort into this intro animation. This is a character that actually starts as Goku and Vegeta. Now, I will say I don't think Goku and Vegeta look the greatest in this intro animation, but I think that's more so of a technical limitation on, you know, the game actually running. Like if they put a lot of effort into making like full new models for the Goku and Vegeta that fuse in the intro animation, that could have potentially put a lot more unwanted stress on some people's devices depending on what they're using to play the game. So I'm not really going to knock it too much for having, like, you know, those Goku and Vegeta's not looking, they're kind of just like cardboard cutouts of Goku and Vegeta, more or less. Like if you actually look at the animation of Goku and Vegeta doing the fusing dance in the intro to this character, it really you could kind of tell that they don't look the greatest. But again, I don't think that's because that they put limited amount of effort into the animation. I think it's more so just the fact of them being conscious of some sort of hardware or device limitations, and that could potentially, or problems that could come up because of some device limitations. But I think the actual fusion dance looks good. I think, of course, when Gogeta actually appears, it's basically the same thing that happens in the movie. The big difference is they don't show the galaxy thing happening, which I think could have been a really cool effect. But I think for the first ever summonable Ultra character, this Gogeta definitely looks very, very good. I am definitely thinking about, so either great or amazing. Where do we think he goes into? If he's going into great, he's definitely going to be here. But I don't think he surpasses Super Saiyan Goku's animation. What do we want to do here? I think for now we'll put him in great here at the front, and then we might adjust it later on. All right, next we have Blue Kaioken Goku. Now, Blue Kaioken Goku is another one of it's very funny. The first ever free Ultra character was Super Saiyan Goku from Namek. Incredible character. He's actually really good. His animations are amazing. Voice lines are really good. The intro animation looks crazy. A1 pick for the first ever free-to-play Summonable Ultra. Number 2 Summonable Ultra, awful pick. He was still good though when he came out, that Vegeta. But like, I have no clue what they were thinking with his release. His animations definitely don't look good at all. I just don't understand the choice at all. First ever Summonable Ultra, we have Super Gogeta. Incredible character, animations look amazing. I think his voice lines are really good. Everything about the character looks great. The second Summonable Ultra, Blue Kaioken Goku. What were they thinking with this release? What was going, again, a release that I still don't understand the rationale behind. What was going through their mind when they were thinking, okay, we've introduced Summonable Ultras into the game. What is the second ever character that we're going to be releasing as a Summonable Ultra character? It's got to be Blue Kaioken Goku from the Tournament of Power. And he does nothing. He gets beaten by Jiren to a pulp in like 0.2 nanoseconds. Doesn't even do the Spirit Bomb. Like, what is this? What kind of release is this? And on top of that, he's got one of the most toxic abilities ever, which is whenever the enemy, whenever he faces an enemy, he locks their strike cards for like 2 counts. That is so annoying. Like, this is just a straight up trash release. But in terms of his actual intro animation, so it basically starts at his feet, and then the camera pans around him as he powers up. I think the aura actually looks pretty cool. I think they did a good job of capturing the aura of the Blue Kaioken sort of aura around Goku, which has always been one of my favorite auras for any transformation. But in terms of the actual animation itself, it's not great. I'm kind of leaning towards just putting him similar to like Omega. I think it kind of reminds me of Omega's animation. I kind of want to put him below Omega. I think Omega's transformation, I think, does a better job of capturing the essence of him as a character than Blue Kaioken Goku's does. So I'm going to put him there. Again, it looks fine because I think the aura looks cool. I think the camera panning around him is a nice effect as well. But it doesn't really, it doesn't really exceed expectations or anything like that. Okay, next we have another big one here. We have Ultra Broly. Now, in terms of his effectiveness, it's definitely not him as a character and him being a good, usable, meta-relevant unit. Yeah, they messed up. But his ink brush animation is insanely good, and his Ultra animation is insanely good. The intro for this Broly, they actually, again, this is probably a similar situation to Ultra Super Gogeta, where they actually do have a model for the blue-haired Broly. So the intro animation for this Broly starts with that blue-haired Super Saiyan version of Broly about to basically just explode and transform into Legendary Super Saiyan. But it's very, very hard to tell how well made that model is of the Super Saiyan Broly because they don't really show much of it. And I think that's fine. Them just referencing the end of, that blue-haired Super Saiyan Broly and him about to transform, that really adds a lot to the character. And then the camera zooms out and then they show him radiating and exploding with the power that he has. And then he goes into a Legendary Super Saiyan, and then they have the iconic side shot of the character. So I really do think this is a very, very, it's number 1 or 2. I mean, hands down, this is going into amazing. Is it better than Namek Goku's? I think it probably is. I think they actually did a better job with Broly than they did with Namek Goku. I gotta put Broly in amazing. I think he is gonna be put as number 1 over Namek Goku here for now. I think so. I do. Namek Goku's is really good. Namek Goku, you know what would have added more to Namek Goku's intro? Is if they had like lightning in the background. If they had some kind of background effect come in. If they had, you know, when he transforms, instead of the camera just looking at Goku, it's sort of panned down or something, or it like zoomed in, or there's more dynamic fluidity with the animation. I think that would have added a lot to it. Broly's, I think, does it better. Obviously, he's a much newer character than Goku, so they've had more time to practice with the intro animations. I think Broly's does slightly edge out Goku's animations here, and I'm going to put it at number 1 here. Next, we have Kid Buu. Kid Buu. So Kid Buu's actually kind of reminds me a lot of Janemba's. I mean, it's funny because they're pretty similar characters, right? They both are just mindless monsters that do nothing and run around and scream, and that they're strong, and that's it. In terms of personality. But Kid Buu, I mean, Kid Buu starts off sleeping. He sort of looks at the camera. He does his shout, and then he does the point, right? I think I would have to rank Kid Buu's above Janemba because at least he does one of his iconic poses during the intro. Like, he does the point. That point is one of the more iconic Kid Buu poses. So I am going to rank him above Janemba, but it's not going to be by much. I think I'm still going to put him in bad. The question is he worse or better than Rose? It depends on how you want to rank this, because Rose's, I think objectively it looks better than Kid Buu's. But how much do you want to factor in the fact that it's literally just a copy and paste of the LF intro? I think I'm going to put Kid Buu above Rose. I think I'm going to do it like this. Rose's probably just straight up looks better than Kid Buu's in a vacuum, but it's just they reused it. I in good faith, I can't put Rose above Kid Buu, I don't think. And then finally, we have Ultra Vegito Blue. Now, how do you want me to rank this? The only time you ever see this is when you're fighting against somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Because there's no reason to ever lead with this character. If you lead with this character, you are bad. That's just the way it is. You lead with this character and you are bad at the game. So I guess this is kind of good. Like, if you see this intro, you at least know you won in a lot of cases, right? So that's a really good feeling. I think the actual animation itself looks really good. I think there's really nothing wrong with it. He does the jump, you know, so when, obviously when Goku and Vegeta fuse in the future versus Merge Zamasu, they fuse, and then like the lightning comes up, and then Vegeta jumps up, and then you see like his silhouette, which is the same exact way they portrayed it in the intro animation. So I think they did a good job of capturing that. And then he turns blue. I think the voice line was a little weak for the transformation as compared to the series. But the animation itself, I think, looks very, very good. It's just, you're never seeing this. And if you do, either you're playing incorrectly or your opponent is playing incorrectly for using him like that. But if I'm purely going to rank him based off of animation alone, he's probably going up here, right? He's either going here, or he's going even above Super Gogeta. He's in this area. This is a very good intro animation. I think it looks very, very good. But if we want to factor in, you know, like the fact that you're never going to see this, and the fact that, you know, it's just, this character was designed with a mechanic where you are literally never going to see this. Like, how am I going to not put him in like awful? How am I not going to put him in awful? This is an animation that you're never going to see. Again, purely speaking, I'd probably put him like right here, just raw looking at the animation. But like, I don't know. You know, to compromise, we'll put him in decent. I think we'll put him here. But like, I don't, dude. This is how do you want me to judge this? I don't know. Anyway, so I guess one thing we could just revisit real quick is Super Gogeta. I think I'm probably going to keep him in great here. I don't want to put 3 characters in amazing. I think I want to reserve amazing to be like just like the very best animations, and I think I'm comfortable with having Broly being just the overall best Ultra intro, and then I'm going to have Namek Goku at number 2. I think they did a really good job capturing the essence of both of those characters there. Gogeta's as well. If they had the actual like galaxy animation for Gogeta's fusion, then I would have probably put him in amazing for sure, but they did not. And also the Goku and the Vegeta not looking the greatest, but I'm not really going to knock them too hard for that again, because I think there's some kind of hardware limitation associated with why they didn't do that. So this is going to be the list, I think, final here. Again, there's a lot of different things you can think about with the characters. I think the hardest one to rank actually is this character, because animation wise, just purely, he's really, really good. I think the animation is very, very good, but it's practically you see that animation and you either instantly win or lose, depending on if you're using him or fighting against him. So let me know down below what you guys think of the tier list here for all the Ultra animation intros. If you guys want to see other tier lists, let me know. Again, I mentioned this in the last video where I ranked the legendary finish animations, but the easiest way to get me to do these videos is if you tag me on Twitter and you prepare the template here in advance. And the website for this is going to be tiermaker.com, and you can create your own tier lists here. So it would be very helpful to me if you guys could create your own tier lists, your own templates first, and then link me to the template, and then I can go in and just easily record the video here and create my own tier list and share it with you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this other this next tier list video. I'm going to continue to try and do these as we have some time before Legends Fest begins and while the game is sort of slow. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all in the next one.